Hey everybody, I am AFAA Master Instructor Jay Guillory.
And I'm AFAA Master Instructor Christine Woods.
And we are back with another Tuesday teaching tips. The 3 T's, Tuesday teaching tips. I say that real fast. And so we finished up our Getting Started series last week. And the 4 topics that we talked about last month are, so now you're certified, preparing for your audition, your first teaching job, and what we talked about last week, building your group fitness community. Christine, you want to give us a quick recap?
Yeah, so last week we were talking about basically what can you do inside the class and outside the class in order to foster connection and engagement within your fitness community.
Absolutely. The awesome thing about technology is those videos will live on our Facebook page, so you can access those at any time. Go back and watch them, and even if you miss future ones, you can also go watch them too. So we're going to move on to this month's topic. And this month's topic we kind of titled Instructor Essentials. We get to talk about some of the things that the book doesn't talk about in terms of what instructors should have. So our first subject of this month is, what's in your gym bag?
And let's start with music, because that is such a critical component for your class, right?
Absolutely.
And, gone are the days when, I would roll up with my cassettes and gone are the days when I would roll up with my CDs. And that's a good thing, because my fitness bag, my gym bag was getting just overly packed, right?
Absolutely.
So, now, point is, you just need to make sure you have your device, and probably that's going to be a phone, right? But whatever you're playing your music on, first and foremost, have your device. So your phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever it is, bring it. Don't forget it.
Absolutely. And I would have to add to that, chords, and more chords, and different kinds of chords, and chords everywhere. Because I know as AFAA Master Instructors, as we travel across the United States, I have had to purchase, have you ever had to go to Best Buy at the last minute because you realized you didn't have the cord that you needed for the stereo system because that's just how life is. And just like for instructors, what ends up happening is when you teach at multiple fitness facilities, the exact same thing happens, because almost no fitness facility has the exact same cords. And let's not talk about when the smartphone manufacturers like to change the ports that we normally use. So right. I can tell you, my friend Alex McLean, I saw him presenting at a convention one time, and I was wondering how he was using his phone and walking around with his phone, but it was still playing music. And after his presentation, he hipped me on to this thing right here. This is a Bluetooth signaler. And what you do is you plug this into a power outlet, and then you plug the other side into the actual system, and it's broadcast a Bluetooth signal that your cell phone picks up. So you just play everything through your cell phone. And I thought God had just walked into my life.
Genius.
So Alex, I'm just going to say thank you for that, because it has made the last 2 years of my teaching life awesome. And
yeah. That's amazing. And then, of course, make sure, so you have your device, you have your cords. Of course, you need your playlist or your app. And I have to say, we've been using the YesGo mobile app. That has been a lifesaver. I have loved using that on my.
I have loved every minute of it. The YesGo app by far is, you have access to a library of endless songs,
genres, the different decades. You can write from senior fitness to aqua to boot camp to whatever, high intensity interval to spin. Every class has multiple albums on that app.
Every one of them. And I like the best thing I like about the YesGo app is the fact that around the first of every month, they release these 10 specific ones for kickboxing, for step, for strengthening. And so you don't really have to look through anything. You just go with the 10.
Right. Absolutely. And I love, within the app, you can be changing the tempo. So, if I find an album that I love that's, aqua and a lower BPM, but I want to use it for like, a high intensity interval class, I can just dial up the tempo, and there's just so much flexibility there. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Should we talk about microphones? Because that's pretty important too.
Pretty important.
Yeah. So again, know what kind of microphone or sound system your club has and what you are needed to provide yourself. So your club may have a headset that you can use. You may have to invest in your own headset. You may just have to get the windshield piece and be bringing that back and forth and changing that out. You're going to want to do that. Make sure you also always have fresh batteries on hand, right? So your club hopefully has some battery, but I would just say take that on yourself to also keep some fresh batteries, because it's no good when your battery pack goes out on you, is it, Jay?
No, it's not at all. This is the vocal cords. I can tell you that right now. If we move on to the third M, miscellaneous stuff, I always have either baby wipes or some wet napkins or something like that. That's always in my gym bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always want to have a towel. I always want to have a water bottle. I always want to have a snack. I always have a snack packed in my gym bag, and it's just something real quick and easy, either like meal replacement in a shaker bottle, or I can just add some water or a bar or an apple, just if I need some quick energy.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that and call me old school, what you want to say, but I'm still a big fan of having a business card, because, if you are going into a club that you don't frequent often, and say you want to, leave a lasting impression with the fitness director, you're hoping she remembers to call you first, when she has to look at the sub list, just giving that business card, I think, is a nice way to connect professionally.
Yeah, and make sure that if you do have one of those, put all of your social media handles on your business card. That way you can actually hand them out to your class participants too. That also works.
Yep, so they can find you.
So that's all the stuff for when you're teaching in person. A couple of the things for when you're teaching virtually. Again, we can go back to connections, because connections are really, really, really important when you're teaching virtually.
Absolutely. Yeah. Things to think about. I mean, it just depends on your home and how's that Wi-Fi. If your Wi-Fi is a little bit spotty, you want to know and you want to address it. So, check your speed, and there are different online tools that you can use to check the speed of your Wi-Fi. But I would say that probably what's recommended most is that you connect directly your computer to your router. That's going to give you the most reliable connection, right?
Because you may have some issues with a Wi-Fi connection, but a hardline connection is going to keep you connected, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, again, then there might be like a connection that you need to use with your connection. So, and these are of course, you go out to the store, bring this home, and then see, oh, I have to go back to the store because I need another connection. So know what you need. You might need some kind of like dongle thing for your computer to use with your Ethernet cable.
Yeah. Also, when you're at home, your microphones. Some people may have to use one because they're in a noisy environment, or they may have other things going on in the same room. And sometimes you may not have to use one. It all depends on how your setup is. So if you have kind of like an established area or an established studio in your house, you may not have to use a microphone. But sometimes it's always good to use one just because.
Yeah. And another thing, just remember, since people are doing these things, we're teaching out of our homes right now. Do be aware that with the Wi-Fi situation, if you've got kids in the next room and they're doing things like streaming videos or playing games, which we know they are, do make sure they're not while you're teaching,
because that will have an effect on the Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, big effect. You don't want that to happen. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing we were going to mention was same as, with your phone, putting it on airplane mode, when you're teaching in the facility, do be aware of the applications that are running on your computer, and you really want to try to shut down the notifications so that you're not getting those pings. It's distracting, just like your dog barking in the next room is distracting. Those pings, they kind of take away from what you're trying to present.
Actually, absolutely. And speaking of shutting down, that's all we got time for today.
Good.
So we would like to thank you for joining us. Again, I am AFAA Master Instructor Jay Guillory.
I'm AFAA Master Instructor Christine Woods.
And we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.